It's a Saturday, we've got a bit of a heat wave going on. It's already too sticky for me, but thought I'd take a look at the gearbox. That's the mounting face. Bit of surface rust, as you can see. I don't know what's caused that cracking, but that'll want something new on that. Just going to give it a good strip down, clean it all off, clean out the oil ways, clean up each of the components. See what I can find out. So I've removed everything that I can get at easily. This input shaft, which is there, there was a bit of a burr where they fit the grub screw, so that took some fiddling to get it out. The main gear cluster is tightened on with a collar with a hole in it, and my C-spanner keeps slipping out, and I've no means of locking it, which is proving troublesome, because it's my understanding now that that collar winds off and then the shaft will go out that way. Once that shaft's out, that one can be knocked out from this side. Only significant wear is on, looks to be on that bush. There's a 5 thou there. I'll have to have a look when I get it out, but it's I'm taking it slow and steady because I don't want to break anything, and I'm trying to mark stuff up as I take it off and photograph it. So that's the locking collar which locks on the shaft, clamps all those locked together. I've checked to see, and there's end float, assuming that there's some kind of shoulder that goes up to, so it's not clamped up against this, and you can see the shaft moving in and out of the float there. So it is only the assembly pressure. It ain't moving. I've got a load of work to repair it or make a new one. The grub screws out. I've just ended up soaking. I think it's had some rust on it, so I'm soaking it in easing oil and come back to it in an hour. Yeah, bit annoying. Oh, it's had an hour. I've got the collar off there. You can't see very well. So the gear clusters now slide along all the way along, but that one is on it must be fixed to the shaft somehow. So you can see the end of the key in here, which means that doesn't come off that way, which means that the shaft, I can't see the shaft going out that way. And that's a fixed shaft, and there's no means of fixing it somewhere. Well, I can't see how it's fixed. It's got some kind of fitting in the end which is appears to be broke, and I can't see how to get that off. My guess is that is part of that, because there's no means of, there's no grub on it, and if it was keyed I think there'd be a grub screw as well. I can't get the pin out of that to drop that off either. I've got the grub screw out, but the pin won't drive out. It seems solid. That could be just a burr from there. So I'm a bit at a loss as to how it all comes apart now. So it's too hot, my brain's not working, so I'm going to call it a day for an hour and cool down. It's actually so hot it's burning my hands holding the tools. Just flashed it over and it said 43. Yeah. Yeah, 48 degrees. burnt my bloody hand. After much pissing about with a punch, chewed up the end of that to knock it out from that position. Now there was a grub screw in it, and I removed the grub screw, but looking at it, either that grub screw had sheared off in the past or it had sheared off in use, and I can't see why it would go in use. Well, that explains why it wasn't sliding out. There's a big burr on the end of it. So once that's out, the whole shaft then can work its way out. And you just ease the gears off the end. They're on a key. But it's just been, apart from the fact it's too flipping hot, working. These will just ease off now. Like that. And then down at the other end, up there, you can see a big brass bush which is sitting inside that collar, which is part of this assembly. So I'm going to take it all apart now, and then the only thing left is that, and I think that comes out that way. But we'll have a look. That's a snug fit. So I think that's a lubrication point, and I think the grub screw is to align it, but at some stage somebody's sheared the screw off in the end. My brain shows it. Get some photos of it. So this is where we left it yesterday. It's a complete contrast to temperatures. Yesterday was up in about mid-30s, and today's barely into the teens. It's much more manageable. So it's had a couple of coats down of spirit cleaner to degrease it. I've just got to get it now prepped up for painting. And we'll get some undercoat on it, and then we'll check out the bearing sizes and whatever. So yeah, a bit tedious and not much to show, but I'll bring you back when it's degreased. Well, that's it degreased inside and out. I'm now going to stick a coat of undercoat all over, undercoat primer. It's not pristine, but it's a lot better than it was. Sun's out, so it's going to be hot and sticky. It'll dry quick though. I've had a couple of coats of top coat now. It's just a case of cleaning up the overpaint and start looking to rebuild it. What is it, Sally? Is that what for? The special cookie carrier? Oh, that's nice. I'm just cleaning up the bearings and the oilways, ready to start rebuilding it. And having gone through with the pipe cleaner all the various orifices, the toe on the top of the gearbox, which feed via a pipe to this one and a pipe to that one, that one wasn't actually drilled through, I didn't think, but it turns out it was just absolutely packed solid with swarf. So I've cleaned all that out. This one, which fits on the other hole, I can't even get the drill down it. Just looking down the end of that one, there's bits of swarf and all sorts down there. So I'm going to try and clean it out. If I can't, or a bit of copper pipe, and I'll replace it with that. It's only push fittings, but yeah, another chore. Well, sun's arrived again. It's building up. So I've had the pipe out and basically a lot of messing about, but that was wedged somewhere on the first bend, and then it was packed solid with little tiny chips behind it. So having cleaned them all out, I've now flushed it through and it runs all right. So another job well done. Having cleaned the bearings out, there's quite a bit of wear on this bottom one. You can't really see because of the sun, but that's probably a better shot. So it's wearing through the oil lines, and yet the counterpart, which is the one that was with the blocked oil feed, looks fine. I'm not going to go randomly replacing them. I've got no means, and I don't, other than once I've built it up, I shall see what goes where. But there's nothing in there that scares the living daylights out of me, so we'll put it back together as it is, and then take a view on it when it starts running. Right, next job's re-tap all the holes because they're all full of cack. Well, I've just nipped down the post office and picked up the parcel that was, I think it got here Tuesday, which is the DTIs I sent off. So I'll just unpack them and then we'll have a quick look. It's only been a week. So I got a call from, well, no, I got an email from the gentleman that was servicing for them, basically telling me that this verdict test unit is missing a little lever off the side, and that's why it's clicking and not working as it should. And he hasn't got and couldn't get spares for it. So I'm on the lookout, or I need to find out what that looks like and either make something or buy another one to swap the user's spares. So that one he's done nothing with. What he did say is that he would include a little something extra, and he put that in the bag, which is a Mitutoyo 10ths indicator, and that's got a nice feel to it. So those two aside, these are the ones that he's stripped and rebuilt. If I take the one that was in probably the worst state, which was that, I mean, aside from the dial was yellow, it's lovely now. I mean, sure, it shows its age, but it's more than functional. And same goes for all the others. I mean, this one was effectively new, unused, but stuck up, and that now works lovely. He's done a nice job cleaning up this old Churchill one. I quite like that. And the same goes for that one, which had very little use, but it was gummed up. And then the big compact, which I'd only just got and never used, that was sticky, and he's sorted that out. So I'm quite happy with that. I think from memory, round about a task, I think from memory it's £10 a piece plus the postage each way. So if you said 15 quid a piece, it's what's that, $20 per unit. And obviously the more you send, the lower the postage works out. It did me a bit of a discount because I included half a dozen within the pack. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure whether I'm supposed to be promoting him or not. So he's not done me any special deals on that basis, but if you want his details, leave a comment below and I'll get in touch with him and just make sure it's alright. But yeah, I'm certainly happy with the way he's done it. Can't complain with a week turnaround. I'm still cleaning bits up, ready to build up the gearbox. I've cleaned up now this gear cluster, that's all ready to go. I've only found one minor bit of damage to a tooth from a bit of swarf that's gone through, so reasonably happy with that. I believe if you watch back through earlier session, you can see me struggling to get this out. That gear needed to come out before any of it could come apart. That's interesting. I noticed that. It looks like it's been brazed up. Anyway, I ended up having to drive it out It should have been just a sliding fit. There was a grub screw in it when I took the grub screw out. Took it all the way out, put it on the side, still no movement. What I ended up doing, having driven it out, turned it round, and the end of the hole's plugged up. And you see that? Yeah. I thought, oh, it must be to help with the oil way. I'll look at it later. Anyway, it would appear that the oil, which is fed into the centre of the shaft that runs through this, goes up there. When that's held in alignment with the grub screw, that hole then would line up with that one, go down the shaft and lubricate that. But at some stage somebody sheared the end off the grub screw and it's burred it over, so I've got to drive that out then, and then I can't see why you would plug the hole where the oil's got to come through. So I'm assuming that. I'm just looking at that. That does look like a weld or a braze right the way across. I wonder if it was as a result of that how that grub screw got bust. Some kind of smash up. It's been pretty effectively done. I think that's something to do with reversing the direction of feed. Anyway, I mumble on. So that's the slug that was stuck in it, which in fairness does seem excessive for the end of a grub screw, but it is what it is. I can't see any other reason why that would be rammed in there. This is the first dry assembly, excuse the shaky hands. Yeah, basically just putting it together, trying to get the sequence right for what goes in which. You know, it's not just the reverse of taking it apart. But yeah, other than one hole still with a little bit of paint left in it, which I missed, everything's gone together reasonably well. I've got a couple of fixings to make up, and other than that it's all alright. I've left the main gear cluster out, so I know that that's the last to go together. Got this assembly back in. Need to locate the fixing that clamps this to that, because that didn't come off when I took the gearbox apart. It was already off. I got a vague recollection we removed it in attempting to get the gearbox off the lathe, so that'll be in one of the other boxes. So I've just taken out this back gear cluster again, because on attempting to fit the grub screw in there, which locates in the shaft, which I've marked with a little tiny dot punch, tell me the alignment, grub screw wouldn't go in. And if you look in the bottom of that L, we'll get the bloody camera to pick it up, there's like a loose piece. Which, you know, you can see it moving around there, yeah, not a big problem, because there's only a grub screw going in. But then in the bottom of the L, I would have expected to be able to, I mean it is drilled through, but I can't poke anything down that. So I reckon that's another situation where someone has withdrawn the grub screw, but rather than take it all the way out, not that one, these are what have been taken off. And I reckon they're supposed to be longer than that. And I reckon they're backing them out, driving the shafts out, and then shearing off the bloody grub screws, which is annoying. Or because this shaft is drilled through to that point where there's an oil line, it's supposed to be some kind of plug to stop the oil coming out, which kind of seems odd because you've got a grub screw going into it. Anyway, I'm going to investigate a bit further. Well, that sorted that one out. Was actually what appears to be another grub screw. Now I've come across that before on my Boxwood lathe, where the grub screws holding the pulleys onto the keyways are backed up with another screw. But this, you're talking about a static shaft and all the gears are running basically the freewheeling. So the shaft is still and the gears are running around on it. So why on earth would you have a double grub screw? But you could tell there's no mark in there. So if it was down to me and I'd sheared that, you'd see a scrape mark, but there ain't one. I undid the top grub screw and just tapped the shaft out. Now sure, there's some marks on the end of the shaft, but I mean, I've had that in and out half a dozen times now trying to work out what the hell's going in. But that would explain what that piece is. It's the end of the bloody grub screw. So it looks like when somebody's definitely had this apart before, because I've actually found that all of the gears have got a witness mark of the smaller gear on them, and 3 out of the stack the witness is on both sides. So somebody's had the gears off, put them back on, and say 3 of them are in a different spot. And we know that that's been repaired, but we don't know whether it's ex-factory, which I doubt, or in its lifetime. I also don't believe that that grub screw with a locking nut, that's not original. So yeah, for your viewing pleasure, I'm just taking a look at that shaft at the back. It's a fixed shaft, so it doesn't rotate. The bearing, the gears on it sit in a bronze bushing. I'll show you in a second. It's the one with the most wear on it. I'll pull the shaft out. Long and the short of it, it's a snug fit this end and not so snug at that end, but as I say, it's fixed. You can see the scoring down it. Running a mic over it, that end measures 1 inch dead on, and then we're down anywhere between 3 and 4 thou along the length, so there's wear on it. The mating gear piece there, the bronze bushing shows anything up to 1 inch and 12 thou, so we've got somewhere in the region of about 15 thou clearance, which is way too much. Now I've got 2 options. I can either spend £400,000 and make a new bronze bit, or what I'm thinking of doing is just make a new shaft. It needs a new one anyway because of that scoring, or I'd have to make a new bronze and make the bronze undersize there. But there's quite a lot of work in making that because it's threaded and there's a collar on the other end. So what I'm going to do is make a new shaft and basically make it 1 inch plus. I'll probably get an inch plus 5 thou, and that'll take the tolerance down. It still wants to be free spinning, and so that's one job I've got to sort out, and I'm just working my way through them now. Now it's all cleaned up and I can see what shafts go where, and I can check the mating faces and just see where the tolerances sit. So they're the 2 pieces brought together. You can hear them rattling around. It'll run like that, but I'd rather have it whilst I've got it all in bits, sort the problem out. Yeah. Start with a new shaft, I think. So I'm taking a look at the next shaft, which is the shaft where all the main gear clusters fit. It fits through a bearing inside a sleeve in here, and then that journal into a bearing at fixed end. There's obviously a bit of wobble there. Measuring it up, I've got 7.5 thou, sorry 7 thou, which I'm not overly concerned about. This end of it, you can see some scoring and whatever, and there's a bit of wear on it. And when I've measured that up to the ID of its mate, there is between 9 and 11 thou, but because it's over such a long length, I mean, yeah, there's movement in there, but I don't perceive that to be an issue. Having cleaned out all the oil ways, I think with plenty, you know, good supply of oil, I think that'll be fine. I mean, what's that going to give you? Around about between 4 and 5 thou all round. I would prefer it a bit tighter, but I don't think it warrants it. I mean, you bear in mind you're not talking stuff whizzing around at 1000 RPM. So looking down the next one, I'll bring you back. So that's the last shaft, or if you like, it's actually the input shaft. That's a nice fit. Evidently the lubrication was working all right on that, so I'm not even going to bother measuring that up. So yeah, it looks like we've just got to do one. The other parts aren't major. The only other sleeves are for the feed and lead screw, and then an actuator screw, rotor shaft. But the journals on those I've not even got a chance to look at, and they are wrapped up outside, so I'm not going to do over them at the moment. So I'm going to set off and make up that new shaft, and then look at building this lot up. Here's one for you. That's an Holbrook 0 to 3/8 or 0 to 10 mil, and it's covered in rust and in the bottom of a skip at the scrapyard. I mean, the tang's not brilliant, but it's got a Jacobs branded Morse tape on it. But yeah, spent a bit of time cleaning it up, and I think it's probably the best chuck I've got. It didn't like that. After a few tweaks on the tool. That's roughed in.